going to kick it off. I appreciate you being here, Jamie, and it's so fun to see you in person. I get to see all these fun Instagram posts
Yes,
in
thank
Broken
you.
Bow and in other places. But anyway, we will get to all of that. But first, I thought if you could tell people a little bit more about yourself so people can get to know you.
Sure. Well, I grew up mostly in Dallas, and I went to college at Arizona State University. So I kind of left the Texas area,
Yeah.
didn't know anybody at college except my grandparents were retired there.
Okay.
And then got my undergrad in agribusiness. I really wanted to work like in the beer and wine industry.
Okay.
It was like, I love business. It was kind of fascinating to me. And I was not smart enough to be a veterinarian. So I had to choose another path. And then after college, I came back home. And at that time in the business world, people kind of wanted you to work and then have your employer pay for your master's degree. It
Yeah.
was kind of what people did.
Yes.
And
I did that.
Did you?
Yeah, I did that.
That was
Yes.
kind of the norm. Like if you went right to your master's for business, people would be like, why are you doing that? But I just wanted to get it over with because I didn't want to go back to school when I was 35. What if I got married? I wanted to be able to take care of my family. So I got my master's in hospital administration because I really wanted to work in healthcare systems. So I met my husband at that time. He was in medical school and we were long distance. He was in Oklahoma. And I was like, I'm not marrying you until I get my master's and then we can get married. So we got married, had a long engagement. The day after our wedding, I moved to Memphis, Tennessee, because that's where my husband was doing his residency. And my dream job, I got to work at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital.
You did?
Yes.
That's awesome. Okay.
Yes. And when my husband went to interview there, I went with him. And I remember saying, if I ever move here, I am going to work there someday. It's actually really hard to get your foot in the door.
I would imagine.
But for good reason. It's still one of the best places I've ever worked. And so when he was finished there,
what did you do there real quick?
So I worked in gift planning. Okay. I kind of assisted people in the field who worked with donors who left St. Jude in their will. So
okay.
St. Jude has about 6 floors of fundraising. It is a wild, amazing operation. And it was perfect for me because I love people. And so the donor part of it was just great. And the hardest part about leaving Memphis was leaving that job because I think I would have stayed there forever. But my husband there was an opportunity back in Oklahoma where he was from to work as a pediatrician. And I was like, I'm never moving there. No, not happening. It's a small town. Then we got pregnant and I'm like, this looks pretty good. Moved to Oklahoma. My family was like, oh, when are you moving back to Texas? Right. And here we are 14 years later, and now I'm promoting part of Oklahoma.
I love it.
So it's just wild. But when we first moved to Oklahoma, I did work for a little bit when I had young kids. I actually worked for the American Red Cross in Tulsa.
How neat.
So I was actually in a lot of Eastern Oklahoma, small towns. It really kind of set me up for what I was going to do later because living in a rural area, you don't really know what it's like until you live somewhere like that. And so I had gained so much knowledge and empathy and how to connect with people in smaller towns. So it was a really good stepping stone. I left that to just, be at home with my kids. And then everything else kind of happened organically.
Yeah. Well, it's so interesting that you say that because I do think that the path that you go on, you take certain things and learn certain things along the way. So
yeah.
As far as connecting with people in smaller towns, and the background that you had working with people even through St. Jude and probably connections that way were pretty awesome.
Well, and even like when I went to college in Arizona, I just had a desire to do that. My parents let me go.
Yes.
But I didn't know one person. And that experience kind of set me up for also being the wife of a physician and
Mm-hmm.
having to move to Memphis and having to move to Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you create a life for yourself in a new place and then, with new people? And
Mm-hmm.
that's not easy for everybody. So I felt like my stepping stones were already starting,
Yeah.
that's kind of when I left home. So
Yeah. I will share with you though, when you and I talked on the phone, I think it's your warmth and your personality. I felt like she's my best friend.
yes,
It's
I
just
love
like,
that.
I just instantly that connection. And so I bet it was not hard for you to meet people and,
Yes,
get
I really
involved in
had
it.
an attitude when we finally decided to come to Oklahoma. I got over the Oklahoma thing. My sister was actually in college at the time at Oklahoma State. I had
Go
persuaded her
Pokes.
to go Pokes. I had
Yes.
persuaded her to go there. I said, I think it's a good fit for you because my husband's brother was there also. And it was great because she was finishing up her senior year. So she was close by. And then she met her husband there. But I had an attitude of like, oh, it's a small town. I can really get involved. I can really do all these cool things that maybe in a bigger city, I wouldn't do. And so
Mm-hmm.
I ended up having this attitude of opportunity. And it did fit my personality. I really do feed off the energy of others. It's
Me
kind
too.
of where I thrive in relationships and people, which, to everything, there's pros and cons, right?
Right. Yes.
But it's definitely like who I am.
Yes, yes. Okay. Well, let me ask you then. Let's go ahead and start talking about the small town
Mhm.
and that you have come to know and love and that you are promoting, because I think it's so interesting that you've kind of created a business around your love for Broken Bow, Oklahoma. So your business that you started with your sister is Broken Bow Travel Sisters. So if
Mhm.
you could kind of talk to me a little bit about how that came about, um,
Sure.
and how it's going now.
Sure. So I left my job at the Red Cross, was a new stay-at-home mom. I really didn't think I could be a stay-at-home mom. Honestly, I had a lot of fear about it, but luckily I just jumped into it, found some great friends, and one thing leads to another. I've always been a researcher, not like in the medical sense, but like things I love, places I want to go. I dig right in real deep. And I also love to share. So by nature, I'm a sharer, maybe a storyteller. So it really was organic. I was looking for a place to travel to meet my family from Dallas and found a cabin in this little town called Broken Bow, really Hochatown, southeast Oklahoma. And I live in northern Oklahoma, so I'm actually 5 hours away.
Oh, okay.
And so I don't live actually in the town I promote, which is also interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But so we go there for the first time, and there's a lot of things I can't remember in the past almost 10 years, but I can remember when I stepped into that cabin, how I felt. I was excited. I was like, wow, this is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
My parents were on their way to meet us. I couldn't wait for them to get there. I remember where everybody slept, how comfortable the bed was. Like, I still remember that, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And we all fell in love. We were just like, what is this place? Why is nobody talking about these beautiful cabins and this beautiful lake? And it was a great opportunity for me to share. So, we had Facebook. So every time we would go, because we ended up going more and more, I would share and share and share. A lot of my Okies were like, okay, whatever, because where I live, a lot of people go to Branson. So, but over time, people started maybe believing me, and people were coming to me for help because I would look through all the cabins and know all of them. And then eventually my dad's like, you should start a website. Like, you should like take this to the next level. He really pushed me to kind of like, you love to do this. I think there's a need for it. And I'm like, you're right. So I knew I had to go on Instagram, and because that was a good place to showcase Broken Bow.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, oh, I don't know how to do it very well. So I started an Instagram for my cats to practice for a while.
Good. Why not?
So I'm like, let's start with the cats. So we did that. And it really did happen organically. I didn't even go into it. Like, some things in life, you go very intentional and you're
Right.
like, I'm going to do this and this. This was like just so organic. One thing led to another. The more I started to share on Instagram to gain followers, I had a passion because I realized in rural Oklahoma, people didn't have the money to travel. They couldn't always go to Disney and places like that. And I'm like, Broken Bow's perfect. They can go with family and friends. They can drive, they can split the cost, but be in nature. And that made me so happy. So that's a lot of where my passion was, as you know, just like it's a hidden gem also.
Yes.
And so we gained followers, and every cabin coming out was just so beautiful. And I love homes. I'm like, how can we show off these great cabins? They deserve to be showed off. So because I love people, I would create relationships with cabin owners. They would trust us. And there was a need for us to come showcase them through social media, stay for the weekend, show them in our stories and video, and to influence people to come stay. So it was a perfect timing of Broken Bow was growing. There was a need for us, a need for help, a need to promote the area too. And it just kind of grew from there. And my sister and I both have different strengths. And so we use those in our Broken Bow travel stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's well said. And you do want to play to your strengths.
Yes.
And so we see, you all and different people who are enjoying these cabins. And I will say this opportunity is so good for retreats, corporate retreats,
for
family, for, meetups and that kind of thing, because I'm trying to remember now what the saying is off the top of my head, but like money spent in travel is money well spent, because, so going to a place and being able to create these memories and kind of unplug from life and have it be, a place where people can go, I think is amazing. But I have to tell you, I've heard about Broken Bow. And is Broken Bow called Hochatown?
So Broken Bow is more of the bigger town.
Okay.
Like it's like what the lake is called Broken Bow Lake.
Okay.
And so people always called it Broken Bow. So there's a town of Broken Bow, but just north of Broken Bow is a little bitty town called Hochatown.
Oh,
and that's really where like the cabins and the tourist place is. I think back then it was just easier to say Broken Bow because it was on the map. Now, what happened last year, Hochatown finally won the battle to break away from Broken Bow, and they're becoming their own city. It's a big deal. So Hochatown is going through a lot of growing pains, and none of us could have predicted COVID, right? So when COVID hit, I always knew Broken Bow was going to be popular. I mean, that's why I shared it. I already knew like it had the things to make it great. But when COVID came, we just took off more than we, ever thought. It just made it come faster. And so quickly we became a top VRBO destination because I'm from Dallas and we're really playing to the Dallas audience. 80% of the people that come are from Dallas. And
how far is it from Dallas?
Just 2.5 hours.
Wow. Okay.
So that's where, that's where the money's coming from. That's where most of my cabin owners are from. And because I'm from Dallas, I could easily have that connection with cabin owners because I know both. And so it was a really good fit. And Hochatown was a good mixture of some little bit of luxury and then some of Oklahoma in nature. And it was just a perfect combination. So COVID made us definitely explode so much faster. And it's been kind of a wild ride.
Wow. That timing, it's interesting when the timing is so right. And you're saying how it happened organically, the growth of this, but I feel like this was kind of meant to be. This was the path, that was opening up for you, and you were actually seeing it happen and writing that because, you're building and creating what you're interested in doing. And one thing that I really liked when we talked before is you talked about your interest in finding the right place for people. And you are so knowledgeable about that area. So if you could kind of talk about your role in helping people and options maybe that they could kind of look into, or what's available in that area?
Sure. So the biggest two things that we do are helping cabin owners, but the other side is helping people come to Broken Bow.
Yes.
So because we have over 1,600 and growing luxury cabins,
1,600?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
And honestly, your response is very typical for most of my Oklahomans. They really just, I talk to people in Tulsa all the time who just don't know. And it's kind of always like, what? But then it makes me excited because I love helping my first timers because I know they're going to love it. Yeah. So what's been kind of interesting is that the big wigs in Oklahoma, it's kind of been sad for me that we're kind of ignored a lot. Like the Wichita in, east of Oklahoma City, Refuge. Yes, it's great. It's beautiful, but they get so much attention. And at first that was really hard for me. I kind of took it personal, but I was like, no, we're good because we're going to do amazing no matter what. But so I won't verge off, but basically we have a cabin request form on our website. Okay. Somebody can tell me their dates and exactly what they need because they get very overwhelmed. They're like, there's so many cabins. I don't know which one to pick. You can go through VRBO or management sites. And so there really was a need to help people and to navigate their experience. Why not make it better, right? And I'm in cabins every day. Mm-hmm. So let me take my knowledge, and I know so many owners also. A lot of people think you can stay on the lake and you cannot. It's very protected, but it's also why it's the most beautiful lake in Oklahoma because all you see are rolling green hills. You don't see docks and riffraff and all that kind of stuff. But you can have cabins like with a view on a creek. So we provide that service to help people, pick the perfect cabin for what they're needing because every visit can be different. One could be a family. Maybe you're going for a couple, a romantic getaway. And so that is a service that we provide. But if something is really full there, because we book up so much, I will help them go other places. Like we have Carlton Landing south of Tulsa, my number 2 hidden gem of Oklahoma. I mean, there's other areas that I will direct them to because I'm very passionate also just about, you don't have to go to all the big places to have a great time. Yeah. So much joy can be found in just going a lot of other places that are not too far.
Yeah. So is the Carlton Landing, because I've not been to either place. So is the Carlton, I know. So is the Carlton Landing also through the Broken Bow site?
No. So Carlton Landing is just something I do very nicely for people. Okay. There's been times where we're just really booked. Okay. Even with that many cabins. Or if I'm having cabin owners now because my cabin owners, they don't have just one cabin. They're having like 2 to 5. Because the investment is so good. The one mistake I did make was not buying a cabin a few years ago because now the prices are crazy and that hurts a lot in my heart. But Carlton Landing is very, very different than Broken Bow, but can provide a similar luxury experience. So Carlton Landing is like a Hallmark movie, a walkable urban community. It is really cool. I still love Carlton Landing. It's not as cool as Hochatown, but it's still really a neat place. And I still go there and love to go there.
You need to start closer. Yeah. Okay. For you. Yeah.
I mean, it's closer for me. And I did try it one time to have them work with me, but they were very resistant at first. But now I think they see everything we do and they're like, oh, we may need that,
Okay. So get that Instagram up there, Jamie, get that going because I can tell your true heart for helping people, and you probably spend a considerable amount of time, but on your end, I don't know if that is not as fun for you or if you still love doing it. You were talking about loving the research and that kind of thing. Do you love that part of it and connecting people?
Yes. I always tell people I'm a people connector. Yeah. And so I really love that truly because now I have cabin owners who are looking to invest in other places. And so I will tell them to go to Carlton Landing, even though it's not as good as an investment as Hochatown, but I am such a people connector where I will link people up to each other. Oklahoma is like a big, small town, the whole state. Yes. And so I find that I'll connect people. Oh, I know this person or that person. I love that. I just love to do that. And I also love just having people look here, like, don't look here. There's things right in front of you that you're not even seeing.
Yes.
And, there's things in your own state that you're not even enjoying and you're not doing that are just as amazing. Like last year, my girlfriends and I have a new tradition of leaving for Mother's Day. We're gone. Bye-bye. See you later. And our husbands love it because they don't have that pressure.
Yes.
And then we come back so happy. So last year we did Carlton Landing, us girls, and we had the best time. We didn't have, you could, but you don't have to go to Napa or somewhere super fancy or far. It could just be somewhere in your own state and have the best time.
Yeah, I love that. My girlfriends and I do that same thing. There's one person who kind of hosts a whole afternoon poolside with drinks, and oh my gosh, and the moms just love to be together, and it's just
the best.
It's the best. Yes, that's so funny. Well, speaking of connections, you have connected me, quite honestly, with several people who I didn't know here in Oklahoma, and most of them I think are women, but I wanted to talk to you about the concept of women supporting women, because I love doing that. And I think you love to do that as well. And so I was going to kind of get your take on that, what you think that involves or why it's important to do that.
Yeah, my take is probably very realistic. I'll be very honest with you. I know that we see lots of things on Instagram that are like, oh, women support women and you have each other's back. And I've learned some things along the way that yes, we should, and it's a good thing. But I think sometimes we're very disappointed because we find out that's not really always the case. And what I've learned is that when you start something new, you're looking for your friends in your circle, in your life, in your family to just validate and support everything you're doing, because you really need those cheerleaders. Like, yes, you're doing the right thing. And, you're looking for all of that. But then there comes a time you might find some friends don't react that way. They're kind of odd to you. They say hurtful things. And I'm just being honest. And I think every woman have had to experience this at some point, that when you're doing something great, there's always people who are going to maybe want to knock you down. Mm-hmm. And I've come to discover, do not seek your validation with your family and friends when it comes to your business. Is it great? Yes. Is it an added bonus? Yes. My validation should come from the people I'm serving. It should come from my cabin owners. It should come from my followers, from people like you who say, I see your Instagram and I just love what you do. So I think it's not directed, and I think it's painted very pretty, like, oh, women should just support women. But I'm here to say that's just not always the case. And so you have to be ready for that and prepared for that and not let it detour you. Because if you're an emotional person or you're more of an empath, then it could be really hurtful. Mm-hmm. So, but I seek my validation from the people I'm serving.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's a good perspective. Yeah. I like that.
Don't give your friends and family, don't make them responsible for holding that much power or holding that much, like, that's a lot, right? Because all of us have things in our life. We have kids, we have our own struggles. So the people that are closest to you, your relationships are different. And it's hard to put so much expectation on them. They're not going to be excited about every little thing you do, because I get excited about too many things. Mm-hmm. And so that's where I can share that over on Broken Bow Travel and leave my friends for my friends. If we talk about business, great. If we don't, it's okay. But I think women tend to think everybody is going to be there for them and excited. And it's just not the case, honestly.
Right. Okay.
I know that's like a downer, but
no, I appreciate your commentary on that. And it's interesting. You have a little bit different perspective than I do, because I lean into probably too much to what my family and close friends think. Mm-hmm. And I like that perspective of kind of more looking at more what people in the business who you're catering to think. And
right, because we
yeah,
have to remember our family and friends see us differently. They've known us longer. A lot of people want you to be who you were 10 years ago. By nature, people just have a hard time with some things. And I think that I can't expect my friends to understand how I feel about cabins like my cabin people. Like, they may think, okay, we know you like cabins, girl, but you like take it up 50 notches. So for me to expect them to give me the right feedback, I'm going to the wrong place for the right feedback. It's just not, it doesn't really, if you think about it, it's not really, I think, always a super healthy thing. And that's just what I've learned from myself, because I tend to be an empath. And so I have to have boundaries. Everything is boundaries, honestly, in life. Everything is boundaries. So I want my friends to just be my friends sometimes, and my family to just be my family. They want to come along for the ride. You're welcome to come. We can share over lunch. We can talk about it sometimes. But if I'm not serving my community well, and I'm not seeing positive strides there, then I'm not doing something right. So you only have so much time. You need to make sure you're spending it in the right places.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right. Time is.
We actually do not need validation from friends and family. I can do what I love to do, regardless whether they validate me or not, honestly.
Yeah. I needed to hear from you today, Jamie, on that.
Good.
Yeah.
So just remember that you don't need, because it's very muddy water. Let me tell you.
Yes.
I hate to say that, but
yes.
I've had some friends say some pretty passive aggressive, unfortunate things to me, because they're like, oh, I mean, they probably never thought that a silly cabin thing would turn out to be a great thing. And some people have a hard time with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
It doesn't mean they're not good friends. It just means that sometimes in their own life, they're struggling, and it's just, they put it on you. But that can really mentally kind of make you down. So I've come a long way of just, sometimes I don't even talk about what I do. I just, unless somebody asks me, I just don't even bring it up.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know. And probably a good tip to keep.
It's a good tip.
Yeah,
I promise it'll work. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if I should ask this or what you're going to say, but I'm going to go ahead, because as a mother, if somebody says, who is your favorite child? Well, your kids, there's no favorite. You love your kids, differently and for their strengths, and, just, you love your kids. But do you have a favorite cabin that you like to promote? And if you don't, then that's okay. But I thought I would just ask.
Well, I get this question a lot, and I'll answer the first thing I'll say is, for us, the way we see cabins when we go into promotion, we don't go into it as, oh, this cabin is like 5 tiers down from this cabin. The way we go into it as, what are the best things about this cabin that my followers are going to love? Let's showcase all of its goodness, right? So we really do see the goodness in every place, because they're all different. But I would be lying if I told you that there wasn't one cabin that I'm very attached to, that I just could probably cry over, that every person I take to gets attached to. And that's called the Rest Bucket. And it's perfection in every way, down from the pillows to the pantry. Every knickknack is perfect. But it's also perfect because the owners, I have followed their journey. They're kind of my cabin idols. And now they have a cabin management company, and they're just the coolest company. And I've learned so much from them as far as having a short-term rental and the luxury part of it. And so, but that cabin is very special. It sleeps 18. It's the perfect floor plan. It has an amazing creek in the back you can fish from. And it has a great outdoor area with like outdoor couch, kitchen, hot tub. But it's a feeling like you come in, they have music playing. It's definitely luxury, but I have been attached to that cabin since day one.
Okay. Wow.
And everybody I bring, they're like, they almost say, girl, why did you bring me here? I don't know how anything is going to like take the cake of the Rest Bucket. But it's just, it holds a special place in my heart. And I think it's okay to say that, because the owners deserve that. And it's definitely part of my journey and why I fell in love with Hochatown, because I love the cabins just as much as I love the area. The area is like state park, water. It just has everything that I think people need today. We need to get out in nature. We need to get out and be with our people, you know?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. Nature plays a big role for me, just getting out, and even for me, just walking and without
Yes.
my headphones and, just doing that. But being somewhere with family and being in nature, or girls, or, on some kind of fun retreat or adventure would be such a special treat.
Yes.
So
It's very great to like have that nature outside your door, but then a cute winery down the streets, and then a great place to eat, but everything is like unique and to the area. But the closer I get to Hochatown when I'm coming into town, as soon as I see the trees, as soon as I see the hills, like my son calls it, I already start to like, I feel like relaxed. Like like I tell people, Hochatown is a feeling. I can't describe it to you almost. Like I can tell you about it, but it's the feeling that you get when you're there. So people are addicted to how they feel when they're there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And people need that feeling because lives are busy. They're returning to, that kind of being busy.
Yes.
And so it's good to have a retreat to be able to go to.
Yeah, it's good. And speaking of moms, I just see so many moms who like they feel so guilty for leaving for just 2 days away from their kids. And I get it, but we need to do that, and we need to be okay with doing that. And it's good for all of us, moms, couples, whatever.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. Well, I have one last question in wrapping up, and that is, what are you passionate about right now?
Oh, too many things.
I love that.
Too many. I have a problem with being passionate about too many things. Right now,
that's a good thing, Jamie. I think that's a good thing. I think that makes life great.
Yeah, I really get really excited about so many things. Oh goodness, what am I passionate about right now? Honestly, this month because of COVID, my husband and I had to put off our anniversary trip. And it's Leavenworth, Washington. I love Christmas towns. I love that. And a lot of people don't know about Leavenworth, Washington, but I've been wanting to go there forever. And so we're going there this month for our anniversary. And I'm already so obsessed with my trip. I know it's still travel, but I'm just like so ready to be there and to experience that and to get away. I mean, I'm always into cabins, but just excited about it.
Yeah. Is there a cabin there that you're going to stay in?
Actually, not this time.
Okay.
Somebody had, I follow a travel blogger who was there a few years ago, and there's a hotel called the Post Hotel.
Okay.
It's an adults only hotel that is like, you get the spa, the food, everything, and it's right there nestled in town. The town is like a Bavarian village. And so they do Oktoberfest, and it's all lit up for Christmas. So we're going to be staying at that hotel. But if we ever come back, we will probably do a cabin. And Washington is one of my like favorite states. So I really do love that. Yeah. But so very excited about that. And I've been just really passionate about, I'm going to speak in Tulsa Thursday at a university, and that's the first time I've been asked.
I want to connect with you on Thursday. Really?
I don't know. I'll be so nervous.
Okay. No, I want to, I want to connect with you.
Okay.
So, okay.
I may really be horrible though, because I have never spoken to like an audience before.
No, you will not. Let me, after I wrap this up, stay on, because I want to talk to you a little bit more about that, because we should have probably recorded that on Thursday in person.
Well, it's just, I love to teach. I love like helping, right? It's just another form.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's also like, I'm very passionate actually about coffee. So because I love Pawhuska, Oklahoma, and I love coffee and I love hidden gems, I sometimes will work in those places to get out of the house. And it led me to reconnect with a previous coworker who's now a professor in Tulsa. And so she actually teaches social media. So she asked me to come speak, but it's just a good example of really how leaving things open and connecting with people and really putting yourself out there in that way can open so many doors. And I know people say that like it sounds kind of cheesy, but it's actually very true. I find that a lot of people don't open themselves up to that, just going to that place or, you know, because I love this place, I go there and then I meet somebody who I knew, and then that opens up 4 other doors. And so, I mean, for me, that's been a great thing.
Yeah. I feel like you're one who keeps your eyes open for different opportunities. And if there's not one, you create one.
Yeah, I mean, I always have my eyes open for sure.
Yeah.
And then I have to tell everybody about it, which I'm sure people are like, okay, we get it. Like,
no,
we get it. You know,
I think well, as you know, there are people, a group who wants to hear about it and wants to know about it. So anyway,
yes. And
well,
one other extra tip I forgot, but last year on Instagram, I had found kind of like a woman's business group that I'm not with anymore because I actually kind of outgrew it a little bit.
Okay.
But there used to be an app called Channels, and you could like be face to face and leave messages. And it was other business owners who were women, side hustles. And every day we would come in and talk about different topics. And I didn't really speak to it much, but I had people asking me to do their social media for them. And I really I was actually fearful of doing it because I didn't want to let anybody down, a cabin owner, and have my name be tarnished. I mean, I do have fear, like we all have fear.
Right.
But within that group, somebody said, you know, you really should do it because if people keep asking you, then you probably need to do it. And so my friends where I live had a new wedding venue and they asked me to do theirs. And that was a good test for me to try it out. So since last year, I now manage 4 social media accounts. 3 are cabin people and one's a cabin management company. So it's another example of, you know, that was another door that opened up for me that I never saw happening. And it actually is a great source of income because we can only make so much promoting cabins. I can only go there so much. So it's been a great way for us to keep our business going and to do other things. And that was something I never thought would happen. So,
okay. So
not to make it more complicated.
No, I am so glad. So you are in that realm of where you're helping people manage their social media accounts.
Yes. I guess that's one of my many roles is like a social media manager. And I, you know, at first I was a little fearful, like I said, of doing that, but now I have 4 that I help. And I'm not a pro. I don't claim to know all the things, but I do have a lot of practice. Our Broken Bow Travel was up to 14,000 followers last year until we got hacked. And I had to start it all over again. So I have a lot of practice and we joined TikTok and I am very wide eyes open in the social media. What are people doing? What's working? What's not working? So that just serves my love of sharing and storytelling that kind of comes natural to me. And it really was perfect because I'm already in cabins every day. So why not help cabin owners who don't really have the time to do their social media? So it's been really great for me. So,
so is that at all a separate Instagram or a separate? No, it's all through. So you're just
all there. I don't really promote that as much. Like I never really go on my page and say, oh, I'm a social media manager. Everything really happens behind the scenes.
Okay. Again, organically.
Yep. It's my relationships and even like our promotion. We hardly ever advertise it. It's all really word of mouth. And I really try to keep my page very for my followers, not too gimmicky and like we're selling stuff. I want it to be a place of where they can come and get away through photos and my stories.
And resource, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if we had to promote more, we could for sure. But so far, we've been able to kind of keep things under the radar. And it's really through our relationships and word of mouth. It really, truly, I mean, it's been so organic, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I am glad.
I know. I kind of went on.
I love it.
I forgot that part.
Yeah. No, I'm so glad. I'm so glad that you included that. And are you taking other people as far as, you know, if people wanted to seek help in maximizing their social media and they needed help with that. Are you
I
taking
don't
others?
know right now if I'm going to take on extra clients yet.
Yes.
But I'm always willing to do like consultations or talk to people about how to get started, or maybe look at their content to see what they can do better, what they're doing wrong, not wrong, but just like what they can do better to attract the right person. So,
okay. I think you and I have got to connect on that too, because
okay.
I need your help with that. But anyway,
Okay.
well, thank you so much for being
Thank
here
you.
today, Jamie. I have loved talking to you, and I appreciate you sharing about your heart and your passion and such great tips today. But thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.